Alright guys, on to lesson 6, which is the second segment of the H4. We still have 2 more videos in regards to H4 with the regions that I'm going to show you. So at the moment, okay, cool, we've just done the GBP AUD and we've just done the XAU USD. Now in front of us we have the GBP USD, and then I'm going to go into the USD CAD. GBP USD yesterday, we did in fact mark on the dailies, so quick refresh, recap. Boom, we had that closure there. I did mention look out for this area because we could be in consolidation before making our decision. We are more or less looking to see what's going to happen here. Now, daily, weekly, we explained, I gave a couple of viewpoints on what could possibly occur given the information on the 3-month time frame. Now let's go into the 4 hourly and take and transition. Okay, so here's the hourly on the right hand side. As you can see, today we've had some minor intraday support at 1.2416, taken from the body of that candle right there. Again, I'm going to get into all of this stuff afterwards. It's quite easy, straightforward, but one step at a time. At the moment, as you can see, pound, it's struggling, and we can clearly see where it's struggling here. Okay, so my eyes are directed, if I just expand this chart, my eyes are directed straight to this low, where the bodies are of the candles. We've got consolidation, we have a retest of that region, which translates as this on the hourly over here. But let me put the markings on first, then we can go back and forth between the hourly time frame. Now, what to look for. Okay, a few things, a few vital elements on this chart right now. Get your arrow, got the arrow tool. What I'm doing now is looking for zones in which I see some significance. My eyes are drawn to, okay, let's start with this one because this is blatantly obvious. Right there, okay, we have that region. Just given the fact that we placed that onto the chart right now, guys, and knowing that we do have that supportive level intraday and we have that huge doji spike straight through it, if I put my crosshair where these 2 bodies are, this could be like a miniature little region range in which needs to be broken one way or another for price to give us an idea. That's just an example of how we can use a miniature region from the bodies and bring that across to actually see. It depends on the velocity and the scale of, obviously, the consolidation range height. Here the height is very, very minimal, but it can still call for, okay, we're going to have a break up to the upside or the downside. There's 3 hours 46 minutes left on this candle, so let's just be patient. So I will keep that on there. I've extended this bottom one across. Again, if price action continues to flail around a little bit, you can extend this one too, but that's a nice little area right there. Again, we're trying to be precise as possible with what we are doing here. Now, secondary area, region, point, here. We do have that level. What I would suggest in this case is, because this area is not too far away from this point, I would preferably just leave this one out for a while. And I would just monitor that area with the crosshair tool just to aid any confusion and not to get the chart too congested. What I would look for though is just below it we have this vital zone. So when the market, boom, gave us some volume over here, we actually had the bearish engulfing pulling it back down. We had, boom, market come back to retest the daily area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull that across there. That fits better for me. That's a better fit, it's well suited, it's not too close, and it gives me a clear point region, because if you look at this consolidation, market comes through and we have in between more or less, this is all the gap nonsense over here, but if I was just to show you the highlighted area, that is what we're looking for. That is where, as you can see here, as the price breaches that zone, volume is pushed through. It goes into new territory highs. So I know that is a specific region in which if the pound does decide to roll over, it will come into that area. To the upside, we have this point right here. That's quite vital. and we also have this area over here as well. So let's just try both. Okay, so first let's start with this one. What we can see there is a huge run into the level, shooting star candlestick right there, shooting star, and then price pulls back and retests it once more. We get another test right there, and then we get another test right there upon the, okay, so we go out the structure, make a high, come back into the structure, below it, retest, and then we fall back. What is important here is that because we have now marked out this area in particular, we can now see where the market is trading below this zone, and it's still following suit. So if I was to bring up the hourly, guys, copy, paste, boom, look how that translates. That's one, and then over here, copy, paste, translated, daily lows. What I can do now, again, because I know that zone, that zone's fresh, that's a nice area I can rely on because of shooting star, because of the volume that's pushed in, back out, and ultimately because of the spike here and then here. And I'm just, again, look how clear, look how much clarity we can achieve by simply focusing on the fine details, coming in, out, in, out, in, out, and look at how we can actually mark up a specific trade direction and a bias based from the simplicity and actually knowing how and why PA is touching specific regions and digits. The PA over here now on sterling, if you translate it over to the hourly time frame, you can clearly see that it's struggling to pull up. It can pull up temporarily. We are looking at maybe the gap in between London and US for a small pull up, but the pull up will be short lived. This area right here, which I've just more or less spoke about, I'm not going to plot anything on there. I'm just going to keep that by eye. I'm going to monitor it by eye, and I'm going to monitor it using the crosshair tool. If you look over to the right hand side, how that crosshair is translated, we more or less have this miniature intraday lower swing drop pushed into new volume lows. As long as price stays below that region, and we also have obviously intraday areas here, which I'm still yet to get into on further videos, sterling for me is going to probably push up maybe 20-30 pips, roll over, but what we're looking for in the rollover is a break of the intraday low, the IDL right here, into 2370, which has already been marked on. So again, we're just achieving clarity and organization, and we're only a few videos in. So sterling for me, I know exactly which level is which, weekly, daily, H4, where PA is, where intraday cycles are being rolled out, and at the moment this is still within an intra-week cycle on the 4 hour. Intraday I can read that, intra-week I can see that we do need one more push down before the cycle actually resets itself. So, with that being said, simplicity, organization, I will leave that for now. But yeah, that hook there, that line, again, look at what we're focusing on. We took the colors away, we're focusing on candle formations. Still we can see them, bearish engulfing, 3-pin pattern, 1, 2, 3, but we're looking at more or less hooks and shoulders, if you will, especially over here on the intraday price action. GA, little push up there as well, still in the trade, more or less break even here, a few pips up. If you look at the reaction from the spike, we have 2 spikes into it, but we're still below the 4 hourly. It needs to be back above that 4 hourly for the bias to actually change on GA. And again, GA is quite a wild pair when it comes down to volume spikes and rushes. It's something that, again, if you look at this hourly here, it's still more or less below the region. As long as we stay below that, then I am going to be holding that trade short still. Gold, if you look at gold from the previous video, we are actually going to be breaking the intraday supportive area. Again, I'm still yet to go through this on the videos to come, but that is lining up for a decent short trade, really simple. And yeah, pound just being a little bit of a monster right now. We'll see how this one performs, but I am looking for the roll. Okay, cool. So that's all I would do on sterling. So let me just recap before I go on to USD CAD. Taken, miniature area, taken, depending on what that does, this candlestick, we'll see where the direction wants to take us. And then we have this area which you can roll and fall into. Break of this area, we'll have our daily area there too. Look how clean that chart looks. It looks so clean, but we know exactly what's going on. We know exactly what's going on. So let's fall into the USD CAD. So I've got the hourly on the right hand side. We do have a lot of price drives at the moment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 price drives on USD CAD hourly. Over here on the 4-hour, we have a few as well. I did mention on the daily, if you look at the day, that we are spiking into 1.33, and we're looking at actually breaking structure 1 and then coming into structure 2 right there. What I can now see is I can now see a few potentials actually for 4-hour areas. Okay, so on the 4-hour time frame, let me just draw that on for a second, put it straight, zoom out. Now, we do have the main markings drawn on with the day. The day is catered for the main markings. The reason in which this chart may be a little bit, not harder, just keep an eye on this, not more difficult, but we may have less regions and less zones, is simply because of the consolidation. It's been sideways, the nature of this chart, the nature of this currency pair. Obviously a trending currency pair which is making peaks, valleys, higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows. There's going to be a lot more opportunity for us to go in and actually place our levels on. In this case, it's a little bit tougher, right? What I am looking at though, but as you can see, this volume rush right here, after, I think this is news related, but it had to come off the highs anyway. We've come back below the daily, re-spiked into the day, torn the chart apart more or less from the previous structure, come into new territory lows, but this area is quite something that we want to focus on in terms of placing our level right there. So we have boom, bang. That's perfect for me. That's perfection. That's really, really good. Why? Because you can see 1, 2, 3. Well, let's start. To the top, volume rush. We have spike into the zone, spike above 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. This area right here on USD CAD, guys, will serve as a decent point of call for a break, and then we can take it short. This could be what we're waiting for actually finding an entry. There are various other entries which are right in our face at the moment, especially this bearish engulfing formation, because what happens is it's breached the day and then it's been pulled back below the daily level. The daily level was plotted from the bodies. There it is. That's how it manifests on a 4-hour time frame. What we're now looking at is price drop, a slam through this level, and then obviously we have our overall structure levels. I'm looking at the weekly on this. Coming into the lower boundary, so to speak, on USD CAD, this area, yes, it is something that I would look at. I'm not going to draw it on there. Similarly to GU, I'm not going to over congest the chart. It's something that I would look at and keep in my mind, and this again comes with knowing the pairs, having your charts clean, cycling these pairs every day, having a solid routine, and again programming all of this information to your subconscious mind, and it just makes life 10 times easier by spotting. You can use a crosshair to go along and go, okay, cool, that's a decent area. Let me see if I am going to be short. Let me just be wary about this level because it can maybe bounce. However, we are looking for boom, big drop, something like this to come. If I translate over to Forex Factory and see what we have some USD news at 3, and then do we have more USD? We have more USD on Friday, so it could be waiting for USD news. USD dollar CAD, this currency pair, does wait for news events in particular, but we can spot, if we read the price correctly, we can actually spot the moves way ahead of time. So we could be waiting for something. Again, this consolidation now with price build up, and there's nothing to tell us yet to go long. The only other thing I would put on that as a variable is this line right there, just as like a heads up, because it can maybe spike one more time into this level just because of the previous behavior and then roll over into new lows. But yeah, that's what I would do with that in terms of warning. Let's go into the hourly and just see how some of these levels actually translate. So copy and then paste over to the hour. Alright, so hourly at the moment, what we've seen today in particular is we've had the price drive over here, and these are the setups galore. So much we can do with our knowledge over here, because if we've spotted that and then we place that on, look at this, we have price drive 1, price drive 2, there's entries here, big risk reward setups on the hourly time frame. I'm not even gone into the 15-minute time frame yet, and these are big moves where you can actually risk more capital, put more capital at stake to actually get pinpoint accuracy entries and hold this bad boy into, you know, maybe a swing trade. So if we look at this low right here where we've placed it at the body, and we can clearly see that price is actually running into that zone slowly but surely. What we've seen today, another entry could have been, okay, we have the spike to the high, that's a bit sloppy though. We had this structure which was broken on the hourly. Again, I'm going to be dissecting the hourly chart soon, but we also have the spike into the high where this range is, because we do have a small range running here on $CAD, and then we've actually broken out of the range. So again, we can use higher time frame tooling, if you will, Command GA, and we can actually go in and dissect and find decent setups on the hourly in the 15-minute time frame. That's all for this video. This one's a little bit shorter because I haven't really got too much more to say on this pair in particular. You know, running 20 minutes on this vid, but we can maybe retest that area now and roll over. Even if you wanted to, obviously you'll be mindful of this level on an intraday perspective, but because of what we see on the top-down analysis, daily, 4-hour, weekly, we can expect a push into new lows, and we can hold that. You know, it's a decent risk-reward setup. Like up here, for instance, let me just show you one thing. We're talking 10, 15 pip stop, okay, and we're looking at targets, something like that, 63. Look at that risk reward. It's a risk reward of 1 to 6.5. It's not a joke. And this is what you're going to be getting, guys, with practice and understanding. All right, this is starting to really piss me off. It's GA. Come on, son. Roll for me. Here, as you can see, like, my stop is tightly above the wick and above the area. What can often happen, it might test it again and then really find some momentum. GA has a nature like this, and you just have to put up with it. It's not the cleanest. It's not the cleanest. Over here, gold, still monitoring that. Pound, GBP USD, not really doing too much at the moment. It's currently 10:28 AM in London, September the 24th. But yeah, I hope you've learned something from these two lessons. Now let's go into the secondary point and the second practice that we need to apply to the 4-hourly, really short and simple, to again allow us to enhance our areas of value in the market, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I've locked this video off, 20 minutes. Hope you enjoyed that.